Firstly, we have to obviously now look at what causes it and what actually led to this kind of debate. And for the past, should I say, 2 years, Namibia has been very, very educational when it comes to civic education. But however, it's been done on a later stage. So now we came to a position whereby youth want to get involved, whereby youth are now actually interested about the governance system and what we call the political terms of the country and what affects decision body making. And then we've been seeing an increase in student-led organizations, youth-led organizations. So in conclusion, this is basically just the key factors that actually led to teenagers, or should we say young adults, wanting young 16-year-olds to vote due to the increase in civil education and what we call now governance to want to lead now, obviously.
Well, in your view, Gerson, do you think that 16-year-olds have the political awareness and the maturity that is needed to make informed choices at the polls?
I mean, as a leader, as a youth leader that advocates passionately about strict education and the mental health and psychosocial well-being of the learners, my answer might shock some people, if I should say. To be honest, no. The reason being is we live in a country whereby civil education isn't in our education system yet. What does this mean? This basically just means that if we, however, let teenagers to vote at the age of 16 without any preparedness or any type of civil education, what will these 16-year-olds be voting for? Are these 16-year-olds aware about the political stance with or their own country? Do these 16-year-olds know how the governance system works? Are these 16-year-olds still matured enough to make the right decision, or are we still going to look at decisions that are tempered with by their parents, peer pressure, media? So these are the factors that we have to look at. We do understand that some 16-year-olds are matured, yes, but unfortunately, just because minority is mature, we can't let the majority vote. I believe that when it comes to civil education, it's quite a very big thing, and it's not any small thing that just anyone can vote. So for now, until Namibia gets a proper civil education system implemented, and until Namibia starts empowering people, not just in other sectors, but politically, how it works, then maybe we can look at it. But as for now, in the current situation we are, the current status quo, it's quite dangerous.
Well, talking about the current state of affairs, if the voting age were lowered, how might it change voter turnout and perhaps election outcomes?
The thing is, we do have to understand that for the past years, Namibia has been known for a country that the hype is so big until election day. Election day comes and no one shows up. Reason being is that we all confuse different people for the ones that are caught by peer pressure to vote. So let's say the 16-year-olds get the chance to vote now, of course, in this case, what will the effects be? Let's just look at how many of them will actually be politically influenced by what we call social media. We're talking about how social media has a huge impact on teenagers, especially the Gen Zs that we are. Secondly, we have to look at how the trends can also influence these political changes. So the question we should really ask ourselves is, even though the turning up might be amazing, and even though we might find a very rich and competitive elections, the question is, are these elections going to be free, and are they going to the best interest of the Namibian people, or is it going to the best interest of whoever has the best marketing strategy? Ladies and gentlemen, we do have to understand that voting can't become a thing of the best person with the best marketing wins. And if we do, however, let 16-year-olds to vote, that's what we are going to look at.
So, Gerson, would schools or civic organization need to do more civic education in order to prepare the 16-year-olds for voting?
Before I even answer that, I would like to ask, what do the civil organizations do currently to ensure that these learners of Namibia, especially in the rural areas, have some sort of understanding in education on civil education? Last time I checked, it's quite a low number of organizations that surely give proper proper civil education to these people. And when you talk about civil education, you just don't talk about voting, but we talk about what influences voting, the importance of voting. We have to educate these people or this youth like myself on how the governance works and all that. And no, I'm not saying I do know how all that works, but imagine if you actually did. So the civil education still has a long way to go in Namibia. And to be honest, I feel like this change has to come now, because we live in a society whereby young people are becoming optimistic every single day. So definitely, they definitely still need to do more than just start.
All right. So are there any international examples where 16-year-olds are allowed to vote, and what lessons can Namibia draw from those?
The thing is, if you look at countries that are necessarily very, very big in civil education, we obviously look at countries like Germany. We look at countries like Switzerland. However, I'm not going to stand up here and lie on whether they are allowed to vote or not, because it's been a while. States change. States obviously change over a few years now. But when you look at countries with proper civil education facilities, we have to look at countries like Switzerland, for example, countries like Germany, countries like Britain, countries like, let's go further down to Belgium, and even a very unexpected country, South Africa in general. So it's a question of, do our local and regional leaders really lower their standards to come and educate the people? And also, the question is this education being biased or not? Because we do not expect it to be from a high governance body. We have local authorities within our regions, within our towns. We have regional councils. Why don't they do it? However, the question is, they should be mandated in such a way that we know that whatever they teach and give out to the community is not biased in any sense.
And Gerson, just lastly, what message would you like to give to young Namibians who want a greater voice in politics?
I would like to say, as a youth representative, it's quite, should I say, discouraging when you don't have the drive and the passion for it. So firstly, whatever you do, you should do it with passion and nothing but passion, as this will help drive change. This will motivate you to do much better. And then also, let's be optimistic in whatever we do. Let's continue reading the newspapers. Let's continue wanting to find out how we can better it. And let's be realistic with whatever we say, man. So with that being said, that's basically what I have to say.